This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Concert backlash. Residents want a MAGA musician's performance at a Parks Canada heritage site cancelled. Housing crunch. A new report calls for home construction to double over the next decade to restore affordability. And they're off. Young harness racers and their miniature horses hit the track.
Temperatures may have been a little on the cool side across the province today, but that sunshine and lack of humidity was lovely. As for how long this weather will be sticking around, your full forecast is just ahead.
Good evening. An American Christian rock musician is stirring up controversy as he begins a cross-Canada concert tour. The month-long tour is set to start in Halifax this week, but the choice of venue is causing concern for local residents. The CBC's Brett Ruskin reports.
This concert is scheduled to happen here tomorrow night at York Redoubt. Now, this is a Parks Canada site, a popular historic site here in Halifax. But the performer scheduled to come here tomorrow from the United States is Sean Foyt. Now, he is a religious leader. He was a church leader. He ran for the candidate, a Republican candidate in California in 2020. He says he's coming here on a series of concerts, a concert tour across Canada to, quote, save Canada and to spark a religious revival. Now, he has in the past, during the COVID-19 pandemic, he and his church spoke out against and went against the masking regulations, the large group gathering regulations. He's spoken out in favor of Donald Trump and against abortion and against 2S LGBTQ plus rights. So, again, residents here aren't happy with him coming to this Parks Canada site. Here's what one of them had to say.
My main concern is the promotion of views that are anathema to the principles of Canada, and particularly the views that are specifically on the Parks Canada website, their own guiding principles of inclusion and respect. I don't think this guy fits that bill at all. We need to have it canceled, period.
Now, again, this concert's still scheduled to go ahead as of tomorrow night. CBC News has seen a letter that was sent from the local MP, Shannon Miedema, to a concerned resident. In that letter, Shannon Miedema says that while she is an advocate and has the utmost respect for freedom of speech, that this particular event goes against Parks Canada's core values. So we'll have to see what happens in the next little while to see if this event does in fact go ahead here on this Parks Canada site before the event and the concert tour continues on throughout other parts of Canada, including Charlottetown, Moncton, Ottawa, Toronto, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Abbotsford over the next month or so. Brett Ruskin, CBC News, Halifax.
A Halifax teenager has been convicted of manslaughter in the stabbing death of another Halifax teen, Ahmad Al-Marak. The verdict was handed down this morning in Nova Scotia Youth Court. Al-Marak was stabbed in a parking garage at the Halifax shopping centre. He'd agreed to meet another teen there for what was supposed to be a fair fight. But instead, Al-Marak was jumped by 4 teens, including one who stabbed him in the chest. Crown prosecutors say they were pleased with the verdict.
But of course, the result doesn't change the fact that the victim, is no longer here, and the impact of his death still continues to affect his friends and family and the community at large.
Sentencing for this teen is set for the fall. The Crown is still deciding whether to ask for an adult sentence. The price of housing in Nova Scotia soared during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it hasn't come back down to pre-pandemic levels since. Now, a recent report from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation suggests to restore housing affordability, the province needs to more than double its pace of housing construction for the next decade. Andrew Lamb reports.
Nova Scotia's current pace of new housing construction starts is about 5,400 a year. A recent report says we'll need to more than double that for the next decade in order to restore affordability to pre-pandemic levels.
We need rental, we need home ownership, we need everything across the board. This is an all hands on deck issue. And this is not just on government, but also on the private sector to step up production.
In recent years, people in the construction industry have reported labor shortages. Abierworth says it will be challenging to significantly increase construction, but it could be possible if governments and builders become more efficient.
Maybe do more prefab manufacturing of housing, get new skills, more digitization, find different ways of building, use more wood products, more mass manufacturing.
If Nova Scotia can ramp up construction, the CMHC estimates home prices could fall from an average of about $511,000 to under $406,000 by 2035. Meanwhile, average rents could be 6% lower versus where they're currently projected to be. One affordable housing researcher says the type of supply we build in the future matters, and that there's not enough non-market housing like that owned by governments or nonprofits.
Those providers are not profit-seeking, and so they're not going to be charging the same kind of high rents as our for-profit housing developers are.
Some experts, including Leviton Reed, have said more non-market housing is needed to ensure a more affordable housing system.
Why not tackle the affordability issue by increasing supply specifically within those non-market sectors?
Leviton Reed says regulations should also be considered, like vacancy control, to prevent affordable apartments from being pushed to much higher market rents when new tenants move in. Andrew Lamb, CBC News, Halifax.
Meanwhile, the PC government is making the first delivery of a promise made 4 years ago to turn surplus provincial land into affordable housing. The Rooted Group, with the help of provincial and federal funding, is finishing construction on a new 18-unit complex called the Crosswoods. The building will include 9 affordable units. Rents range from $770 a month for one-bedroom units to $1,150 per month for 3 bedrooms. Tenants started moving in this month. People qualify for affordable housing based on gross household income for both new affordable housing properties. All right, we've got Jay Scotland in with the weather, and for folks who really don't like the humidity, today was their day.
That's me, right here, raising my hand. Count me among that. I don't know if that's a hot take. I don't know if anyone really loves abundant humidity, but maybe a smidge just to help with those first.
Today.
Yeah, those first few steps into the water when I'm on vacation, I think humidity is appreciated in that moment, but that's a narrow consideration there. Temperature-wise, though, it was on the cool side today, but it was also very dry, which meant not only low humidity, Amy, but also a lack of cloud cover. We saw loads of sunshine today, so we may have been a little low in the temperature department, but we were not low in terms of the amount of sunshine we saw across the province today. And we'll continue to see a mainly clear sky this evening and overnight. It was breezy. Not only cool, but it was quite breezy and brisk today for that wind. The wind will be easing as well. That could see a few fog patches developing overnight into early Wednesday morning. Into the afternoon, though, that wind from the southwest, not too blustery, temperatures back into the mid-20s, feeling into the high 20s with a bit more humidity, but not too much to make it uncomfortable. Should be a nice hump day tomorrow.
It sounds nice. All right, thanks, Jay. Premier Tim Houston and other Canadian premiers met with Prime Minister Mark Carney today at a summit in Ontario. U.S. trade talks are the main topic. Houston says provincial and federal leadership are united.
It's brought the federal government and the provincial governments, I would say, closer together. It's really, we all see the opportunities that we have before us to make for a stronger country, and we're all pushing in that direction.
President Donald Trump has set an August 1st deadline for a trade deal with Canada. Walking alone at night can be scary, especially if you're a woman. That's why a Dartmouth group teaches people how to defend themselves against violent attacks. Juliana Griot went to one of their crash courses to learn more.
I was living in Toronto a while ago, and I went through a bit of a traumatic experience, and I realized afterwards that if I had had more experience with self-defense, I could have maybe helped navigate the situation better, or gone through maybe less of a traumatizing situation.
This is a reality that many women experience. And with gender-based violence being front and center in the minds of some Nova Scotians, safety is something many can't take for granted. But Bersinka says taking self-defense classes is helping her regain the confidence she lost after being assaulted. This instructor says that's the goal. She teaches a course at Evolution Selfdefense in Dartmouth that helps people identify danger, de-escalate situations, and defend themselves in extreme scenarios.
Self-defense offers, I think, a confidence in your own ability and your own skills. We live in a world where people are faced with different kinds of dangers or threats every single day, and I think just having an awareness of it can help you, avoid those situations. If I get this, then I have to escape from that.
The instructors show different scenarios, like when you're being attacked from the back or with a knife. But the most important thing they teach is situational awareness. That includes knowing how to get out of potentially dangerous situations without ever needing to engage in violence. They also teach the legal limitations of self-defense and how to stay in the clear if you ever need it. This student hopes never to use the skills he learned outside the gym.
Even if it seems daunting to people, it can be worth it because worst case scenario, you never use a skill of this in your life. But I guess also in another worst case scenario too, you have to use it. You at least have some skills in your background.
The course is on summer break now, but classes will resume in the fall. Students who have already taken the course say they feel a little safer walking alone at night. Juliana Grillo, CBC News, Dartmouth.
Competitors in the Maritime Mini Racing Series are turning a lot of heads this summer. They look like miniature versions of harness racing drivers, and the organizer of the series say they are the future of the sport. Nancy Russell reports.
This is the first event of the season in the Maritime Mini Racing Series. It started last year, inspired by a PEI harness racer who wanted to give his grandson a taste of the sport. They did an exhibition race with the boy driving a pony and a mini race cart. The idea grew from there.
A couple people had said, hey, I have mini pony myself. I really would like to be involved in something to make this a bit bigger for the youth. And then it just boomed.
The series is back for a second summer with support from Standard Bred Canada. Organizers see this as a way to grow the sport.
With their mini ponies, they have to do the exact same thing as what we would do with our racehorses. Train them, jog them, keep them fit. They travel the circuit like a normal stake race horse would.
Competitors younger than 8 are in what are called buddy races, with someone driving with them. The races cover only a short stretch of the track and take about a minute each. The horses have names like Cookie Monster, Popcorn, and Mayonnaise. 11-year-old Lucas Heffernan Bailey is the one who inspired the series.
Well, one Christmas my parents bought me a miniature horse named Turbo, and I ended up getting the bike Christmas Day.
Lucas is here today with a new horse named Sully.
What do you think of your chances here today?
Well, it depends on how many's in my race. I'm thinking 50-50 chance.
Brooklyn Wallace is also 11 and is one of 4 competitors from her family here today.
Tell me about your horse.
He's really fast and I really love him.
There's a ribbon in the winner's circle for the first place finishers in each race. 17 of the 19 competitors here today are from PEI. Caitlin Wesley hopes the numbers will grow in other maritime provinces and someday even reach across Canada.
I definitely think it's going to grow and grow every year, and national would be amazing.
There are 5 races in total in this year's series, including August 13th as part of Old Home Week. Nancy Russell, CBC News, Summerside.
Well, at the Halifax Pride Parade this past weekend, a bride and her wedding party were seen dancing alongside the floats. But Patricia Lesperon says it's not something she planned for. She was leaving her hotel when she realized there were no cars outside due to the parade. At first, she was worried about how to make it on time, but then she found a creative solution, joined the parade and walked to the venue. She says attendees were cheering her on and she was able to make it to her wedding on time. Oh, the beach days of summer. There's a shot in Lawrencetown. Jay is up next with his full weather forecast. We're back after this.
This weather update is brought to you by Access Wellness Nova Scotia. Book your appointment today for free, confidential mental wellness support.
All right, we've got Jay back, and sounds like kind of a copy and paste forecast coming ahead.
Our managers might be watching, Amy. I don't want them to catch.
Right.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't. You know, I have to admit, I'm a little embarrassed. I don't know the shortcuts. So for me, there is a bit of work. It's right-click copy, right-click paste for the forecast.
Either way, it's a nice forecast.
The days that I'm, you know, a little bit bored in terms of the tracking weather are the days that most folks are happy. So I don't think there'll be a lot of complaints coming into the complaint box today. Now, it was a little on the windy side today, certainly for more exposed coastal areas. And it was a little on the cool side. I think we'll be a little on the cool side again into the early morning hours tomorrow. We could even see some fog patches setting up, aside from maybe some early morning fog patches, some coastal fog, and then a few clouds developing, passing clouds, late afternoon, evening. I think tomorrow is looking pretty nice. Temperatures will be back around where they should be for daytime highs, at least, as well. A little cool through the overnight hours tonight. Temperature-wise, though, today it was a little on the cool side, but it was dry, it was comfortable, it was sunny, albeit a little on the breezy side. But we're really grasping at straws here to find something to complain about. Look at that satellite picture over Nova Scotia. Over all 3 maritime provinces, there's not really much to show you. Lack of cloud cover means a high UV index, lots of sunshine, but we are coming off of, well, some wet weather, some cooler, damp conditions yesterday and on Sunday. So a little bit of sunshine with the grass not being as crunchy, not a bad thing. And the cooler temperatures do help in that regard as well, just considering how dry June and the first half of July has really been. So cooler temperatures, not a bad thing. As we take a look ahead, though, we are watching for that ridge of high pressure just to pass as we look through the overnight hours, just to our, you can see it moving in from our west and tracking just south of Nova Scotia through the day tomorrow. There's a look at maybe a few passing clouds that we will see developing into the late afternoon, early evening. I think aside from maybe some low cloud and fog in the morning, and then this chance of a few clouds developing towards the end of the day, towards supper, really not a bad one. Mainly sunny conditions, again, developing into the evening hours, although sunset is now a little bit before 9 p.m. So we're starting to see those days get a bit shorter, too. As we look to your Thursday morning, starting out with a fairly sunny one for most of the province, maybe battling some morning fog and cloud cover for more northern and eastern areas. And then we'll see a mix of sun and cloud that is generally leaning towards the sunnier side of that mix through the afternoon. Wind will be picking up later in the day on Thursday. That wind from the southwest does become a bit blustery overnight into Friday morning. And we do have a boundary sitting to our north. We will watch as the system to our west does approach late Friday into early Saturday morning to maybe bring some unsettled weather, showers, risk of thunderstorms will be there. But after a few sunnier days, that rain will be a good thing, and it shouldn't be sticking around for the whole weekend either. So through the overnight hours tonight, just a few clouds. I'm really a bit more concerned about maybe seeing some fog setting up for some coastal areas, as that wind will be continuing to ease this evening, and fairly calm at times overnight. Temperatures will be a little on the cool side as well, between 10 and 14 degrees for most areas. Now, inland, low-lying spots could see temperatures dipping into the single digits. So just be mindful if you're sleeping with the window open or up very early tomorrow morning. It could be a little on the cool side to start the day. But into the afternoon, we've got the wind. It's not strong, but a 10 to gusting over 20 kilometer per hour warmer southwest wind, and loads of sunshine for most of the day. We'll see those temperatures returning to around where they should be, even a little bit warmer in a few spots. So mid to high 20s for inland areas, even coastal areas will be just pushing into the mid 20s, and humidex values will have us feeling into the high 20s to near 30. So enough humidity that if you're getting out to a beach, if you got the day off, looking good for you, but not uncomfortable for folks that are trying to be active outdoors or maybe working outdoors as part of their workday. So as we take a look at the next few days through Friday, we'll see a mainly sunny one for your Wednesday tomorrow. Thursday, it's a mix of sun and cloud, but again, I think it will be leaning more towards the sunnier conditions for large stretches of the day. We will see a sunnier start to Friday, but clouds will be building through the afternoon and late into the day. So South Shore into the evening, likely overnight into Saturday morning for more central and eastern parts of the province. We could see some rain moving in, and those showers, thunder showers, could linger into Saturday before clearing, and not a bad one to round out the weekend on Sunday. So Saturday, not too bad for the second half. Sunday shaping up to be all right. It is only Tuesday, but Amy, I stand by this. It is never too early to look ahead to the weekend.
You've got that right. All right, thanks, Jay. It's been 50 years since the movie Jaws kept people out of the water, but a new documentary filmed off the coast of Lunenburg aims to portray sharks in a new light. The Great White North Invasion premieres tonight on Discovery+. Oceanographer Greg Trouse is part of the team that filmed in Lunenburg last fall. First off, I guess, why do you think people have such a fascination with sharks?
Oh, I think we have a fascination with most things that live in the ocean. There's quite a bit of a mysterious environment that we don't know much about, and of course, sharks and great white sharks in particular are one of the apex predators.
Well, tell me what it was like filming this documentary right here in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, it's been massively eye-opening for me. I mean, I've been involved for about 5 years, and prior to, I mean, I knew that there were some sharks around. But it's really blown my mind. It's the amount of awe that I have for the magnificent beings that are white sharks is absolutely incredible. And it's really shifted my relationship from, like, kind of as a kid growing up scared of, sharks due to the betrayal and Jaws and things like that. And then being able to go out and live it and experience firsthand is something that I'll always be grateful for.
Well, how many close encounters did you and the rest of the crew have?
We've seen almost 60 sharks. So based on photo identification and cross-referencing that with other sharks and other researchers, I think the number is 59 different white sharks we've seen over the past 5 years.
Well, now, when people think of sharks, in your opinion, what do they get wrong?
It's that portrayal of the mindless killing machine monster, right? And a lot of that comes from different portrayals that we've seen of sharks. And in particular, it's something that I've chosen not to dive into. Like, I still haven't seen the movie Jaws. I mean, I give it credit for, it has led to more interest in sharks and things like Shark Week, but it's not a message that I want to bring into my body and my relationship with the sharks, right? So doing the work that we've done and observing them in real time, one of the big shifts from that I've seen is that sharks are very curious and cautious when moving through our zone of research and take quite a while before allowing themselves to be seen on the cameras or interacting with our baits.
Well, how do you think the documentary might change their reputation?
I hope it shifts that from a more fear-based reputation into respect and an understanding and acceptance of different risks. And the documentary is really leading into research in that area of better being able to inform people about where the hotspots are and how that varies based on the season.
Well, how many sharks typically are off the coast at any one time?
The best estimates that we have right now for Nova Scotia it's in the thousands.
Wow.
And that's an extension of a number. There's a researcher that has a field station on Tancook Island, and they have an array of receivers across Mahone Bay, and that's detecting in the ballpark of 100 sharks per year. But that's only the tag sharks. So that's sharks that are carrying an acoustic tag that's sending out sort of the equivalent of an acoustic barcode that gets picked up by receivers. And they've got quite an extensive array across Mahone Bay, so it's going to pick up sharks that are coming and going. And so if they see about 100 over that 6-month period, we then connect that to our observations where we're near 60 sharks that we've seen, but only 3 have had tags. So that gives us a multiplier of approximately 1 in 20. This is early numbers, but roughly speaking, 1 in 20 sharks are tagged. So that 100 detections extends to a number in the ballpark of 2,000 sharks. And then it's important to remember that is only over about a 6-month period where the waters in Nova Scotia are basically ideal for white sharks, both in terms of the food and the temperature. And that's ballpark July through October-ish. So when you take 2,000 sharks, 6 months, 180 days, that's in the ballpark of 10 to 12 sharks per day going through there.
Now, lots of folks are flocking to the beach this time of year. A fin sighting led to a brief closure at Queensland earlier this month. How much risk do we face by going into the water?
Honestly, I think it's relatively low at beaches and in relatively shallow water. It depends on your activity. I'm a surfer. I surf at some offshore breaks where we know that there are seal haulouts and seals present. And my friend that I surf with a lot, Walter Flower, runs the whale tours out of Lunenburg and has been seeing a lot of seals and a lot of predations, in particular close to where we surf. So we know that's a hot spot, so we're calling it off for a few months. But relatively shallow water along the beaches, the risk is tiny. Like you probably have a higher risk of getting into an accident on the way to the beach than having an encounter with a white shark.
Now, there have been some suggestions there should be shark warning signs on Nova Scotia beaches. What do you think of that idea?
I think it's good. My understanding is that there's shark warning signs already up. So I mean that connects with sort of one of the driving purposes of our work is to raise awareness and let people know that sharks are present and have appropriate safety measures around as well. I believe that they're starting to put bite kicks just so that stuff is there. Like anything else in life, it's better to be prepared, right? But in terms of getting in and out of the water in Nova Scotia, I think like the one thing to be quite aware of is that the white sharks, and in particular the mature ones, their primary source of food is seals. So you want to stay away from swimming in around seal haulouts or with seals.
Yeah, some good advice and a fascinating topic.
Yeah, don't swim with seals. Don't swim with their food, right? But
very
it's
smart.
a balance. I mean, sometimes when surfing, it's nice to have one seal around as an indicator, right? So but you definitely don't want to be swimming around a bunch of them.
No, probably not. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, it's a fascinating subject.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Coming up, as Israeli forces launch a new assault in Gaza, aid groups warn malnutrition is becoming a severe crisis. And almost 1 year after a wildfire tore through Jasper, there are heightened tensions between municipal and provincial leaders. Welcome back. As we told you earlier, Prime Minister Mark Carney has met with the premiers at a summit in Ontario's cottage country. Donald Trump's trade war with Canada and nation building were at the top of the agenda. The CBC's Kate McKenna has more from the summit.
I'm going to call to order this First Minister's meeting.
Prime Minister Mark Carney with an update for premiers on the topic that upended Canadian politics and economics, the trade war with the United States.
We all understand that the global trade environment is changing, and there are some countries that are pulling back, that are restricting market access, but there's even more countries that are opening up to market access.
The new trade deal with the U.S. is supposed to be in its final negotiations with an August 1st deadline.
I think the premiers have full confidence in the team that we have negotiating on our behalf.
But today, neither Carney nor the premiers seemed sure that deadline will be met.
I mean, we'll see. We're working to get the best deal for Canadians, and that's the focus now. I think what's absolutely clear is we have a lot to do in this country. We have a lot to do that's positive to build. That's becoming more concrete.
I would be worried that if we constrain ourselves that we have to get a deal by a certain date, that we maybe have to, maybe do some things or give up some things or give up some leverage that we might not otherwise have to if we just focus on getting the best deals.
Instead, all seemed more focused on building up Canada and busting down internal trade barriers, so the next generation is less reliant on the United States.
And what are you going to do for the Trump tariffs? There's one thing we can thank President Trump for, is getting us moving, getting us united like I've never seen before across the country and focusing on large infrastructure projects.
Carney hinted at doing more deals with other countries.
Our phone is ringing off the hook from other countries who want to do more with Canada. I've had over 80 bilaterals with world leaders since I became Prime Minister.
A promise to get a new deal with the United States was part of Mark Carney's election campaign. The deadline has already been pushed back twice, but Carney says he'll only accept a deal if it's good for Canada. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Huntsville, Ontario.
Aid groups say Palestinians in Gaza are only getting a trickle of humanitarian assistance. Israel eased its blockade of the territory more than 2 months ago, but access to food and essentials remains difficult and deadly for many. Nala Ayed has the details and a warning some of the images may be disturbing.
For months, aid groups insisted Gaza was careening towards famine. Imagine the desperation it takes to wade into this. I went to die to get a bag of flour for my children, says Muhammad Abu Jabal, who was injured in the crowd. This bag, he says, is soaked with blood. Even before this conflict, Gaza was heavily dependent on what comes in from the outside. Now, aid is handed out by the American-Israeli-backed effort, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, that the UN says hundreds of Palestinians have been shot trying to access. Israel acknowledges a shortage of aid, but blames the UN and denies there is a famine. The UN says Israel's expanded offensive into central Gaza is threatening the last lifelines keeping Palestinians alive. The UN chief called it all a horror show.
And now we are seeing the last gasp of a humanitarian system built on humanitarian principles.
And we're talking about hunger.
This Canadian aid worker on the ground says the decline has been steep, visible even among their own staff.
I think what's worse is when I walk around the hospital, before even getting into my patients, I am accosted a dozen times in all directions, just asking and pleading for food in any way, shape, or form. To look at parents and to say your child is not malnourished enough to justify access to this treatment is heartbreaking.
With hospitals threatening to close and mass starvation spreading, aid workers say they need action.
We need the bombs to stop dropping on children, and we need to be able to access the children and their families who are in the most desperate of need. So it's very clear what's needed in Gaza. So words are great, actions obviously are very powerful.
On the ground, thousands of Palestinians are again on the move. Makeshift homes left behind, futures uncertain. Nala Ayed, CBC News, London.
The Trump administration is pulling the U.S. out of UNESCO, the United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization. The White House says part of its reason is its focus on what it calls divisive social causes, as well as what it sees as anti-Israel sentiment. Washington says UNESCO's decision to admit Palestine as a member state is, quote, highly problematic and contrary to U.S. policy. The announcement comes only 2 years after the U.S. rejoined the agency. The withdrawal takes effect at the end of December 2026. UNESCO says it deeply regrets the U.S. decision. A year after a massive wildfire devastated the town of Jasper, Alberta, the destruction is still evident, and the provincial government is on the defensive. The CBC's Julia Wong reports on the fallout from the town's report on the disaster.
These empty lots, a reminder of what was lost nearly 1 year ago in Jasper, Alberta, when a wildfire destroyed about a third of the town's buildings.
I do believe there's nothing we could have done. There's no amount of resources or firefighters or air tankers that could have stopped that fire.
Efforts are now underway to make sure it doesn't happen again.
We had a lot of residences that were very fire smart compliant and did a very good job of doing it.
This is exactly what we want to see.
In Jasper's backyard, Parks Canada is trying to reduce the wildfire risk.
But what we've really been trying to focus on is removing things like we're seeing behind us here, the lodgepole pine.
I'm very disappointed.
But political tensions have been growing. The town commissioned a third-party report into the wildfire. It said it wasn't out to lay blame. The report found the province may have hampered the response by requesting information and trying to make decisions.
Whatever it is that they are trying to do to deflect blame, I'm not impressed with it, and I would ask for an apology from the city.
On Monday, Jasper's mayor tried to ease tensions.
There is an observation, simply an observation, that the involvement of the province made the matter more complex. A neutral statement, not a political statement.
A statement from the municipality said the report was not intended to assess the province. It took issue with media coverage, saying broader findings like recommendations were not reflected, and the statement reiterated contributions from the province. The mayor says he's not worried this friction will affect future relations.
We are not concerned with our ongoing relationship with the province, and we will expect that, as they have in the past, they will continue to support our recovery.
In a post on social media, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith thanked the town for clarifying the goal of the report and says the province remains committed to rebuilding the community. Julia Wong, CBC News, Jasper, Alberta.
Ottawa has announced billions in spending to build up military infrastructure in the Arctic. But amid all the concern about northern sovereignty, some believe there is a voice missing. As Samuel Watt tells us, younger Inuit want opportunities to be directly involved in shaping Arctic policy.
This land and these coastlines along Iqaluit is where Manu Kunuk feels at home.
Arctic sovereignty means to me protecting our people and our land and having control over it.
Right now, he sees a lot of military interest in the Arctic. He's participated in several global youth forums, but at home, he believes there's a lot missing. Community consultations, for example, and even an Arctic Security Committee for youth.
We're the future of the land. We're going to be the next leaders.
Alasua Hansen doesn't see much military presence in Nunavut despite all the talk. And when there is, she doesn't often see Inuit involved.
A handful of people I know go to Alert, and it's more of the Southerners who are able to travel up there.
She hears a lot of political talk though, but she says Ottawa needs to do more than that, especially with the country's colonial history.
They could, be present in the community rather than holding 5-day-long meetings or, have some chance to get an opportunity to hear from the locals.
When Students on Ice founder Jeff Green hears the words Arctic sovereignty, this is what goes through his mind.
It's being treated very much in a geopolitical sphere right now, where there are certainly a lot of things going on.
Talking about military and infrastructure is fine, he says, but he wonders where's the investment in youth? In his view, that's through more opportunities to connect with other youth globally, and education that roots Inuit to traditional knowledge and the land. That's what Nolan Kamanuk wants to see more of.
I don't think we need more youth leadership programs that teach us how to behave like bureaucrats. We need more programs that teach us our rights in our language.
For him, no flag or port will replace the true meaning of sovereignty. That, he says, comes from communities being able to feed themselves, govern themselves, and keep intergenerational knowledge alive. Samuel Watt, CBC News, Iqaluit.
Music legend Ozzy Osborne has died. Family members made the announcement Tuesday afternoon. They said he was surrounded by love when he passed. The British musician rose to prominence in the late 1960s as the frontman for the heavy metal band Black Sabbath. The band produced many hits, including War Pigs and Paranoid. Known as the Prince of Darkness, Osborne once bit the head off a bat on stage, mistaking it for a rubber toy. He launched a successful solo career in 1980, topping the charts with the song Crazy Train. He and his family members became reality TV stars after launching the Osbournes in 2002. Osborne, who had Parkinson's disease, recently performed at a concert in his hometown, Birmingham. Osborne is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of Black Sabbath and as a solo artist. Ozzy Osborne was 76 years old. He is survived by his wife Sharon and 6 children. Well, the buzz around a viral moment at a Coldplay concert still hasn't died down, prompting memes, jokes, and even a resignation. This after the married CEO of a tech company was caught cozying up to a coworker on the Jumbotron. As Sharon Yonan Reynolds reports, the moment has sparked a conversation about online privacy and the mob mentality of the internet.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two.
A couple caught cnoodling on a kiss cam at a Coldplay concert. One, the married CEO of technology firm Astronomer, the other in charge of its human resources. The viral moment now the butt of jokes.
She's the head of HR. So today she had to call herself into her own office. That was it.
In an online post, the company announced the resignation of CEO Andy Byron, adding, "Our leaders are expected to set the standard in both conduct and accountability, and recently that standard was not met. Their public faux pas has a lot of people talking."
I think it's really sad to have these people exposed like that.
You do something, you're going to be all over the internet, everybody's going to know. That's 2025. What are we going to do about it? You have to be careful.
I think it's terrible, but it was very funny in terms of situation. So, yeah, shame on him.
The psychologist says the circumstances make this a perfect storm for a viral moment.
So the fact that it wasn't just, a regular couple from up the street, the fact that it was someone with wealth and with prestige and all of that for, most of the rest of us, then elevated it to that us versus them comparison.
Experts also say that with our lives on display through social media, the public has less tolerance for bad behavior.
There's a greater expectation of transparency from public figures, or even if you're not a public figure in the case of the CEO, but still executives or leaders. And that means they have to respond, I think, with a greater amount of accountability than they have before.
Neither person in the video has commented publicly, but whether you see them as the victims of meddlers or simply getting what they deserve, experts say it's a reminder of how a public deed can go viral in a flash. Sharon Yonan Reynolds, CBC News, Montreal.
Canada's main stock index saw modest gains Tuesday, and U.S. markets were mixed as the latest U.S. tariff deadline approaches with relatively little fanfare. Here's a look at the numbers as we go to break.
Whether you're just waking up or you're on your way to work, we're here bringing you compelling stories from across the province.
And keeping you up to date with the latest in news, weather, sports, and traffic.
I'm Portia Clark.
And I'm Matt Brand.
Join us for Information Morning for the Mainland, weekdays on CBC Radio.
This weather update is brought to you by Access Wellness Nova Scotia. Book your appointment today for free, confidential mental wellness support.
All right, Jay, it sounds like you're going to add the sunshine from today to some warmer temperatures for tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like a chef or something, like I'm mixing up this.
It sounds delicious.
Follow me for more great recipes online. No, I wish it was like that. We just had a bit too much in terms of that dash of a brisk wind and that dash of some cooler temperatures. So we're going to eliminate that. We're going to put a dash more heat in, keep the sunshine, and we're going to just take a little bit of that wind out of the equation tomorrow. So through the overnight hours tonight, that wind will be easing. So into tomorrow morning, we could see a few fog patches, areas of low cloud, even some spotty drizzle early in the morning. It's very, very patchy, though. It's not looking to be the wind that calm and very dry conditions today. Not a lot of humidity to see a lot of widespread fog developing. Once the fog patches do lift, though, we do see a few passing clouds developing late afternoon. But in between, it was mainly sunny. And we'll see the sunnier conditions returning again as we look to Wednesday night. Fairly sunny to start the day on Thursday. We could see a few passing clouds through the afternoon. Again, it's a mix of sun and cloud. Northern and eastern areas, maybe a bit more of that cloudier side of the mix. I do sound like a chef, but it will be looking pretty nice for your Thursday. We do see the clouds increasing on Friday, though. Friday night, Saturday, we do see some showers, but at that point, rain would not be a good thing to keep that fire risk tampered down and to help ease those dry conditions. So mainly sunny for the HRM to start the day tomorrow, but there could be a few patchy fog areas to contend with in the early morning, and it will be a little on the cooler side. If you're up before 7 a.m., could be 12, 13 degrees, even cooler for some inland low-lying spots. Towards the noon hour, it's mainly sunny. It's by late afternoon we could see a few passing clouds develop, but nice to see those temperatures back up into the low to mid-20s, mid to high 20s for some inland areas, and we will be looking at humidex values feeling 2 to 4 degrees warmer than the actual temperature, so it will feel a little bit warmer, but not oppressive by any stretch for your Wednesday, shaping up to be as nice, but a bit warmer and less windy than today, and I think that'll have a lot of folks smiling.
A perfect recipe. All right, thanks, Jay. A dog well known to comic book lovers in Newfoundland is retiring. Super Thomas has been the store mascot for Heroes and Hobbies comic book shop for nearly 8 years. But his owner says he's having trouble with the stairs, so they've decided it's time for him to spend more time at home. Here's a look at how Thomas celebrated his last day on the job.
Most people come here just to see him. It's not for me, it's not for the shop, it's for Thomas. We're celebrating my old fella. He's 13. This is Thomas. He's been coming here for about 8 years and he's getting old now, so it's time to retire him and go home and spend his days in the yard. Hey, bye. He's been with me every day that I've been here. I mean, I was here by myself. I was like, I don't really want to be here by myself, so take the dog. And now everybody knows his name. They don't even know my name.
Yeah, I've known Thomas for a good little while. He's just got to be the most receptive dog to anything.
Yeah.
Like he's always down for a pet. So every time I come in here, he can walk right up to you. He's very friendly.
I bought his comic book. I had to. It was so sweet. I can't wait to open it up and read it. And we really like collecting cards, so I had to get a little Thomas card. I think it's so cute. He's got the best little temperament. He'll just come up and greet you like, oh my God, he's just so sweet. I mean, do you think they'd notice if I stole him? Like if I just took him and ran?
He is living his best life. He has hit the dog lottery. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, you're not getting any better. He's one of the best dogs that I have ever had. And I've had a lot of dogs over the years. And to be able to take this rescue dog and give him a whole new life, a life that he has never known, and now he's got the people, he's got kids, he just loves everybody, and I'm so happy that I was able to do that.
Good boy, Thomas. That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.